If I would live my life again, there's three choices I would not change. One, I still marry the same gal. Two, I still join the Army. And three, I still come to Lakeview.
It's simplicity living, but very adequate. For a person, when you get older, it's easy living.
When I toured this building, the North Point building, I was shown an apartment on the 5th floor facing the lake that's behind me, and that did it. That was the end of the decision in that respect.
I won't be thinking, well, I got to do something with that dead tree, or the pond needs cleaned, or I didn't want to mess with that any longer.
First of all, it's a continuing care community. And no matter what happens to me, physically and health-wise, there's a place for me here to rehabilitate, recuperate. And that's very mind-easing to know that.
There are other things that I do that this will give me time here.
There's so many people here that there are a lot of activity clubs and organizations. They have art, music, writing, poetry, and prose, card-playing clubs, exercise groups. There's a swimming pool for people who like to do that kind of thing. And there's so many other activities like that, gardening, that you can do with people, and that makes it an interesting place to live.
I thought it was a little early for us to come here. After about 6 months, I realized, no, you need to come to Lakeview as quick as you can because it allows you so much freedom that you don't have to, there's so much stuff to do here. There's more things to do here than you got time to do it.
Well, hello there, and welcome to this special virtual event presented by Lakeview Village. We are so thrilled to have so many of you joining us here today. My name is Melissa Smith, and I am the host of this special presentation today. And obviously, you are a curious person because you are wanting to know, what would it be like to live in a retirement community? In particular, what would it be like to live at Lakeview Village? And we're going to get you those answers today. In fact, we have with us some residents. You saw some of them there in the video just before the presentation here, speaking about what it's like to live there or why they made that decision. But we have some people who are joining us live, and they're going to answer your questions. We're going to have a discussion about it. And hopefully by the time we're done in the next hour, you will have a clear picture of what life is like at Lakeview Village. So we want you to participate. We want you to ask questions that you have today. So on this screen right here, just below this image you're seeing, there's a form right down there. When you scroll down, you put your name in there, put your question in there, hit submit, and that question will come straight to us. And I promise we will get those questions answered today throughout the presentation. I want to make a quick introduction before we get to our resident guest and bring in here Lynn Tenbrink. Lynn is the sales and marketing director here at Lakeview Village with 20-some years of experience in the senior living industry. Hey, Lynn, how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Great to see you. I was over on the campus yesterday. I had to do a quick interview with one of your residents, and we went out on that veranda, I guess is what you call it, there at North Point, looking out over the beautiful lake with the fountain, and literally did not want to come back to work because it was amazing. And as I drove through campus to meet Jack over there, there goes people riding on their bicycles and all their bike gear, and there's folks, walking their dogs or just taking a walk, or I could tell some of them had even walked maybe from a nearby store because they were carrying things. And it is just, the weather is perfect right now, and obviously folks are out and about on campus.
Definitely. We're called Lakeview for a reason. We really do have a Lakeview. You can have a Lakeview apartment, and a lot of people gardening as well. Our gardening areas have been very busy, and people walking their dogs, and it's been very busy. And I think people are so happy to just be out and about. And we had so much rain this spring. It's nice to, even though it's been very hot, you can get out and about without the rain.
Yeah, this week has been especially nice.
Yeah.
So kind of fill us in briefly, if you would, on what's going on there at Lakeview.
Well, I just want to touch on a couple of things before we get started with the residents, just a few things that differentiate Lakeview from some other communities that you might be considering. First of all, we're a nonprofit organization. So some people, they don't really understand what that means, but it really means that the money goes back into Lakeview. We're not paying dividends. We're not paying shareholders. We're not paying owners groups. All the money with Lakeview stays with Lakeview. And we're also managed by a board of directors who are all local. Everybody on our board is a resident of the greater Kansas City area. So we really feel like they understand our, Lakeview Village. They understand Lenexa, Johnson County, Kansas City. They're a part of our community. Also, we really are a village. This is a village. We're a 100-acre campus with walking trails, 2 lakes. So we really are kind of a little city here. We have 3 restaurants and a bistro headed by our executive chef. We're actually getting ready. We're having our soft opening this week of our coffee shop. With actual baristas and our own high-end coffee shop. So the staff and residents are all very excited about that. We have a wonderful state-of-the-art fitness center, heated saltwater pool. We have trainers on staff. We have 8+ fitness classes a day. So fitness is something that you're interested in. We have so many things that you would be interested in. Also, we have Lakeview University, which is very unique, and we have fall and semester classes. And most of our classes are taught by residents, some by others, so there's opportunities to teach courses at Lakeview University or attend. We have everything from finance to public speaking, photography. We have a foreign film club, so all kinds of learning and teaching opportunities with Lakeview University. And part of Lakeview is that we are truly a life care community, and we're the only true life care community in Johnson County. There are other communities that have entrance fees, or they do provide those levels of care. They provide assisted living or nursing if you would ever need that in the future. But we have the option for the contract where your monthly service fee can really follow you through most of your life, follow you through those other levels of care. And we're happy to go over those details with you individually. Whereas our competition, your price tends to change as you move to other levels of care. We are also a home for life. If you ever would deplete your assets, you would never be asked to leave Lakeview. We do have a foundation, and you're able to stay in your home and never have to worry about that. So that financial predictability and stability is extremely important to a lot of people. We're also highly rated on our financial stability. That's really important when you're looking to live at a place. You want to know that Lakeview is going to be around in 20 and 30 years. And we have the financial history and the stability to support that and to be able to make those guarantees. We do have several different types of living at Lakeview. We have single-family villas, duplexes, fourplexes, which we call our cottages, and we also have apartments. So depending on the style of living that you would like, we can usually meet most of those styles. And our construction, this seems a little odd to mention sometimes, but it's really important to the people that live here, is our construction, we're steel and concrete buildings. So our buildings are extremely quiet, safe, stable. You don't hear people walking above you because there's concrete between each floor. So we don't have the noise concerns that some people might think about if they're thinking about apartment living. So we like to always mention that as something that doesn't have to be a concern. We are building some brand new villas with Don Julian Builders. So these are being built from scratch, and the reservists get to pick all the finishes. So you're really custom designing your home. And we do still have one villa left. So if you're interested in designing your own home at Lakeview, we still have one left to do that.
Beautiful. And of course, we want your contact information up there, Lynn, just in case somebody wants to jot that down. We'll probably show it again here at the end of the presentation. Okay. And if you'll just hang in here with us, I want you to be a part of this discussion too, because while we're focused on our residents that we're bringing in, we just think it'll be nice in case somebody pops up a question that none of us can answer, then you'll be there to help us out for sure and to sort of add to the conversation. So let's bring in our guests, if we will, if we can at this time. We've got with us three people. So we have with us Katie Savage, and Katie has been a resident at Lakeview Village. Hi, Katie. She's been there for about 4 years. Mm-hmm. And we're also going to bring in here Dick and Cindy Ralston, and they've been at Lakeview a little more than 18 months. Hello, my Lakeview Village friends. How are you?
Hi. Hi.
Good. Well, I know Lynn talked a little bit about like the different kinds of housing there at Lakeview, but I thought a great way to start would be to have each of you talk about, the kind of home that you left and then the kind of home that you chose when you came to Lakeview. So, Katie, let's start with you.
Well, I live in a townhome in southern Johnson County, which I had built, and I'd been there about 15 years, and I decided to move to Lakeview, and I chose to move to an apartment on the 5th floor facing the lake that Lynn was talking about, and it's just wonderful. So.
And so you made that conscious decision. Why?
Well, being a single person, I decided that I wanted the opportunity for the socialization, and I felt that if I was in a cottage or a villa, it would more than likely be more similar to my townhouse, but this way, if I choose to be really involved, all I have to do is step outside my apartment, and I can actually, if it's pouring rain or snowing, I can do 6 laps in my hallway, and that's a mile.
Wow. No, I really hadn't thought about that, because I guess in my mind I was thinking, well, townhome's kind of like an apartment, but you're right. It is a very different experience, and your neighbors are really closer to you in this way, I guess.
Right.
So, Dick and Cindy, what about you? What did you move from, and what did you move into at Lakeview?
Okay, we are transplants to the Kansas City area, and we lived in our home for 33 years. Don Julian built it way back when, and we just loved it. We absolutely adored living there. However, it took us a while to get to the realization that our bodies were not going to keep up with the amount of effort that is needed to keep up a big home. So that was kind of our beginning as to, why we decided to move.
Dick, any thoughts you want to add to that?
Thing with Don Julian, we just thought he was the greatest builder in the world. And when we came over here to first see and talk to people, and they said Don Julian, and I said, that did it.
Yeah.
As far as I was concerned, because I think he was our greatest builder that I've seen.
And also, I might add, this is the 4th home we've built. We've never, lived in a regular house. We've always built one, and we kind of enjoyed the opportunities to pick and choose what we wanted to put in the house. So it was a great option for us.
Cool. Those of you who are joining us today, you're likely joining us for a couple of reasons, maybe one of 2 reasons. You may be trying to determine whether or not you even want to leave your current home to make a move to the lifestyle at Lakeview Village like these folks. And you might also be trying to figure out when is the right time to make that move. So I want to talk a little bit about that. So how did each of you decide when you moved that was the right time to do it? So Cindy and Dick, let's start with you.
Okay. I have a very dear friend who moved here about 6 years ago, and she just, raved about Lakeview. And she kept saying, Cindy, don't wait till it's too late. You need to, move in so that you can enjoy the retirement resort activities that are offered here. And so, I kept listening to that tape playing over and over. And, that's when we decided we can't keep up the house to the level that we wanted. And so, we decided that Lakeview would be the optimum choice for us.
Cool. Dick, anything you want to add to that? I don't want to leave you out, Dick.
Well, one of the problems that we had was our house was 80 feet straight up on a driveway, and then we had so many steps. We had 8 steps to go into the front door, 8 steps to go into the back door, and we lived in 4 bedrooms upstairs and a living room, dining room, kitchen, and family room. And then we had an office in the basement, and we were constantly walking up and down stairs. We got to a point where we said, wait a minute, this isn't right. So we looked at Lakeview, and it certainly answered all my questions.
Awesome. And it just, it seemed like that was, you got tired one day, Dick, and said, that's it. I'm not going up those stairs anymore, right? It's time to move. Yeah.
Well, Cindy and I have both agreed.
Perfect. So what about you, Katie? What was that deciding factor?
Well, I actually had heard of Lakeview. I've lived in Kansas City, Greater Kansas City all my life. And a couple of good friends, they were trying to decide if they wanted to move here. So I came to a luncheon with them, and I was taking notes to help them decide. And as I wrote everything down and heard about life care and heard about the not-for-profit and tax deductions that we get every year, I got home and I thought, now, why wouldn't I do that now so I could enjoy all the amenities of Lakeview as well as have all these other benefits? Right. So that was how I came to the decision to do it. And I thought it was taking a long time, and one of my friends said, once you make up your mind, you go ahead and I just make things happen. So I came younger than some of the other people, but I'm thrilled that I did it.
Oh, I can imagine. Hey, Lynn, I want to pull you in here because Katie said something about the tax deduction piece. Can you all explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so when you have a life care plan, you are paying for some future medical costs with the entrance fee. So when you first move to Lakeview, your entrance fee, a portion of that is tax deductible. And then as you live here, a portion of your monthly service fee is tax deductible. And actually that is going to be our August event, is going to be all about the tax deductions. But again, we can certainly talk to you about those at any time before then. But we will go over that in detail in August.
But I get it, Katie. That would definitely be an incentive on top of other things as to why you would want to go there. So what we hear so often from people when they move in, or pardon me, before they make a move is, I'm just not ready. Maybe I might have been one of those people who said that to you guys before the whole presentation started today. I don't know. I'm just not ready to do this, right? What helped you all feel ready to make the move to Lakeview? Can you remember?
Steps.
Well, I think our stairs, number one, and being the house was built into a hill. And I started having some physical issues. And like right after we sold our house, I was told I needed a new left hip. So, I think the stairs really took a toll. Yeah. And so that was a real motivator, is to get to a 1-floor plan. And we do, because we have a patio home, we did have the option to, finish off part of the basement, which is nice in case we have family that comes and wants to stay or what have you.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's worked out well. We have a few steps, but we don't have to take them every day. And that's even better.
Right. And what's even better is I bet, Dick, you had that long driveway you talked about. That probably took its toll. I mean, did you have to clear that thing?
Every year at the winter time, it was a chore sometimes to get up the driveway, and sometimes we had to park just at the foot of the driveway in order and walk up on it.
You had to walk on the grass sideways to go up.
Oh, like you're at a ski slope.
It was snowing, yeah. And
Oh my gosh.
towards the end, we had a wonderful neighbor who would call and say, "Dick, don't you dare get out there and do that driveway." Coming
Yeah,
out.
well, that starts getting scary. Yeah, you don't want anybody to get hurt. So, Katie, was there? I mean, and maybe I don't know if it applies to you or not, but what helped you really feel like this is the moment? I am now ready to go.
Well, I think, as I said, all the information I gathered, and being a single person and having no children and no siblings. I mean, I have some great friends and I have some great cousins, but for goodness sakes, I wanted to make sure that I could be independent in my decision making.
Right.
So I thought if I'm at a place like Lakeview and I can move from different types of care, without making more decisions and more choices and actually physically moving again, I could stay in one place basically and just function from here. And the people in the place is just amazing, and all the facilities are wonderful. So I just felt that it was a decision I shouldn't put off. So
Sure. And you made the decision a little bit younger. Dick and Cindy, do you wish you would have done it sooner?
I do, but our sons both wanted us to move to where they are living. One's in the state of Washington and one's in Colorado. And just the thought of that far a move and having to start to make friends, and maybe you see them like once a week. Our life has been here and our friends are here. And like I said, it's like living at a retirement resort. Why move when you may not get that someplace else?
Can I add one more thing, and that is this morning I took Lucy for a walk around the neighborhood, and one of the residents was backing his truck out of the driveway, pulled over to the side, hopped out of his car, and was with treats for the dog. And I had to give treats to the dog. That's fine and dandy.
That is so fun. That is so neat.
It's a wonderful village to live in.
It's what it's like here.
That is really great. And then,
Melissa, if I could just point out, I love what Cindy just said about their life and their friends were already in this area, and that's one thing we talk to a lot of people about is when you come to Lakeview, you're not giving anything up, but you are blending it. You're going to blend your the friends you already have, and the church you go to, and the gym you go to, and the things you already do, and you have all these new things at Lakeview as well. And you'll blend those together.
Exactly. And we really felt like this, like when we told our sons what we were going to do, they were kind of horrified and thought, well, how can you do that? But we wanted to be independent. That's really important to both of us, to have independence. And I felt like this, maybe they don't realize it now, but I think this is the greatest gift we could ever give them because they won't have to worry about us. We can be independent and be taken care of.
Well, and that leads me into, because I remember you saying, Cindy, that since you've been at Lakeview, haven't you used the rehab services there?
Gosh. Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because I think that's something a lot of people don't know.
Oh,
so kind of bring us up to speed on that.
It's just, if I could walk that far, I would. But it's right here in the village. And I go over there 3 times a week. And I've done all my physical therapy over there. I just graduated the other day. Thank you very much.
Oh, congratulations.
And it's a wonderful saltwater pool. And I just look forward to it. 3 times a week, I'm over there for a class. And the physical therapists have been wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So I can't speak highly enough about the, physical therapy and the pool. I mean, the pool is part of my life now. It really is.
So what surprised you most when you made the move to Lakeview? Did anything surprise you?
Well, what I'm going to say, I mean, my friend Leanna really prepared me. But I was amazed at the accommodations of the staff members. They just can't do enough to make your life smoother and easier here. We're so used to living in our own house and taking care of everything. And I don't have to do that anymore, you know?
And the ones that do come in here are happy to be here.
And they're just as sweet and accommodating as can be.
Absolutely.
Communication is wonderful here.
Has anything surprised you, Katie?
Well, I was just going to add, I know that the Ralstons live in a patio home, and I was concerned about moving to an apartment after years of living in a home or a townhome. And I wondered if I would feel constrained. And I think I've mentioned it to everybody about when I moved here, I felt like my floor is my street and the building is my subdivision, and I live here in the village. And even though I'm in an apartment, I feel like I have all of these common areas and the 100 acres, and there's so many things to do that I've never felt limited or like I was living someplace smaller, which I think it's been important to me.
Oh, that's so interesting.
But, and the other thing Lynn mentioned, I was concerned, since college, when you live in a dorm and you hear other noises and you hear all these things, but at least here in our building, and I've talked to people in other buildings, these buildings are solid. We don't hear, my next door neighbor, her son-in-law is a coach at Tulane, and she invariably has a lot of family over watching games, and I don't ever hear a sound from her apartment next to me. It's just they're very well built and very solid and very quiet. In fact, we discussed at dinner, did anybody hear the storm last night? And we're like, no. So it's actually quieter than my house ever was, which is really kind of surprising.
And what I've noticed when I've been over there is how high the ceilings are.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And so there's that feeling, plus the fact that they're spacious anyway. But I think that ceiling height just adds to that sense of it being, very spacious and all. Okay, I love this question. What do you wish you would have known before you moved into Lakeview Village?
Oh, wow.
Any thoughts there, Cindy?
My friend filled me in so thoroughly that I really, nothing surprised me, quite frankly. I just knew that I was going to live in a much better village than I was before, in that all of our needs would be taken care of.
Well, I think what you told me the other day, too, is that you brought too much stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Do you wish that you had known not to bring things like, do I really need my vacuum?
That was
my vacuum is still in my locker.
You little bragger, Katie.
I know.
I have to admit, we vacuumed this morning.
Oh, my God.
I vacuumed this morning.
Let's be clear, Dick. Dick did the honeydew, right? But yeah,
honeydew this and honeydew that.
That's right. But so do you feel like that there are things that you didn't need to bring that you ended up bringing, which I guess over time you still do downsizing, I suppose.
Right. I think I didn't bring a lot of extra things, but I've actually given things to other relatives, cousins, things that I did bring thinking I might have a use for it, but I didn't. But I think, as most of my friends know, and this is kind of a dangerous thing to say, I've never turned my oven on since I've been here. I use the stove, but my kitchen
is not going to have us over to her apartment for dinner.
So you're eating out. You're eating in the dining room.
Exactly. And it's just wonderful. And again, I want to say again what Dick and Cindy mentioned, that we do have a life outside of here. This is just part of where we live. And I still go out to lunch. I still work part-time. So some mornings I get up and go into the office. Other mornings I can operate from here. But it's not like we gave up anything. Everything that we did give up, for instance, space and things like that, it's all made up with so many other services and friendships. We have to mention all the friends I've made in 4 years here. So,
I'm sorry, Dick, go ahead.
Add to that, and that is that I like playing golf in the summertime, and the opportunity to play golf with some of the other men is really great. Very nice to do.
Plus, he's taking an exercise class to improve his golf game.
Yeah.
I love it.
I check his scorecard each week to make sure.
See if he's getting better. That's so great, Cindy. So, Lynn,
I got two
let's talk a little bit about finances, all of you, because, you know, it seems like finances surrounding a move seems to be sort of this common concern for some, which takes us back to the conversation a little bit around life care community and why that spoke to each of you. And before we hear why the life care community piece spoke to each of you, which I know you've said a little bit about already, we have a question here from Lyle. And Lyle says, I thought that Santa Marta was a life care community. How is Lakeview different? So, Lynn, you need to answer that because I have no clue.
Well, and that's what we say really true life care. So they do offer the other levels of service, but they don't have that type A traditional life care contract where your monthly service fee that you pay in independent living will follow you to other levels of care. So they can't give you that predictability of cost, and it's a lovely place. That's just the facts of their finances.
Sure.
So people that live at Santa Marta, they'll be told their price of what they'll pay at assisted living and nursing when and if they ever need those levels of care. Whereas at Lakeview, we can give you that predictability of cost when you move in. So you're going to pay what you pay in independent living, and then the only difference that you're going to pay from your independent living, whether it's a villa or a patio home or an apartment, you're just going to pay for 2 extra meals a day because your independent living includes 1 meal a day, and if you go to assisted living or the care center, then it's 3 meals a day. So that's your only increase in price when you move to other levels of care at Lakeview is the 2 meals a day.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And there's no other community in Johnson County that offers that.
Do the you other fine folks, you residents there, do you have anything else you want to add about the life care piece of Lakeview Village that Lynn hasn't already mentioned?
No, just that it is a peace of mind.
Right.
I can tell you the first night I was here, I felt I had a different calm about living here, knowing that if I needed assisted living or about 20 years ago, I broke my ankle and I needed to be off my foot for 8 weeks. And I ended up staying with some friends, and I always thought to myself, that's horrible. It's a horrible thing to think about. So I was thrilled that I found a place as wonderful as Lakeview to live that had that option to keep moving. I know one of my neighbors broke her shoulder, and she availed herself of the service of moving to another level just from her apartment for a few weeks for some extra care.
Oh.
So there's lots of options that are available to us on life care.
Very cool. So here's a question. Okay, Cindy, perk up because this comes from Sally Gordon. And you know Sally Gordon.
No. Hi,
yeah,
Sally.
You know, see? There you go, Sally. You got your shout out from Cindy. And so she is considering a move from her 4-bedroom, 4-bath home, which they've been in for 43 years. So she's got you beat, Cindy.
That's your heart.
I know. And so Sally wants to know about the pool situation because I know there's an indoor pool. Is there an outdoor pool is what she's asking.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
There isn't.
Just the lakes.
But Sally, you would love it here. We could play, and there's a lot of other people that live here from the college. So it's like kind of an extension of where we work.
Oh, that would be so fun.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have Sally, Cindy, and Dick are inviting you over for dinner this weekend, so you can get a full look. How you like it? Except that I guess you'll take her to the dining room since nobody's cooking over there anymore, right? So we have a question from Pat, and it says, I'm concerned about the process of moving. Did you guys have an estate sale? You know, who did you use? Did you hire a junk removal person? Who did you use? What do you wish you did differently in the move process? And I know before you guys answer that, because I want to hear from both of you, but Lynn, I know you have a ton of resources for folks when they decide to make this move that Lakeview Village is connected with, right?
Yes, that's a really great question.
It is.
So yes, we have an extensive resource list of everything she just mentioned. So people that can help you organize. If you need to downsize, they can do estate sales. get items appraised, where you can donate items, also who will pick up your donations. So we have an extensive resource list, and if you want to reach out to your counselor after the event today, we'll be happy to send that to you. And I think it's just very helpful, and it is for local people, but we can certainly help you find some resources if you're looking to move from out of state as well.
And Cindy, we talked about this a little bit the other day. I think you should share sort of the time process that it took you to get ready for the move, right?
That was another reason we wanted to build our own home, because I knew it was going to take me at least a year plus to, divest of all my stuff. And so I just kept taking every week. I would go over to Catholic Charities, or I would have, harvesters, whoever would come in our neighborhood, and I'd have stuff on the front porch, to kind of pass those things along. And my take was, these have served me well over the length of time that I've had them. If they can go to help somebody else, I'm all for it. And so basically, we did not have an estate sale. We were thinking of it. And then I realized that, through the year and a little longer that we, were planning this, I got rid of an awful lot. And here's another thing. When you put your house up for sale, you have to make it look like nobody really lives there. So, we even got a storage unit temporarily to take some of my sewing machines and my fabric and, all my fun stuff over to the storage unit. Because technically, when your house is listed, they don't want anything sitting around that looks like people live there.
Right. And I think the piece that you talked about is the length of time and not realizing how long it was going to take you to get through that. But again, that's why those resources are so valuable that Lakeview Village has, because they can help you and connect you to the right people, because that right there takes time, right? Trying to figure out who's going to be the one to help me do all this.
Their resources were wonderful. The movers they suggested, everything. I just went along. I figured these are tried or true, or they would not be recommended by Lakeview. And that saved me a lot of legwork, too.
Sure. Katie, you have anything you want to add?
Well, I was like Cindy and Dick. I made way too many trips. I'd load my car and hope it wasn't raining, and then drive over and pop my trunk open. And I also used my friends. I sent out notes, like I had a hide-a-bed that I wanted to give away. And, my friends were just like, oh, God, she's trying to give us something else again.
But there's so many great places you can donate things to. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to force it on your friends. Yes.
I wanted to add, too, that, depending on the floor plan or type of home that you pick at Lakeview, we have floor plans that are, over 2,000 square feet. So not everybody does have to downsize. If you're in a 2,000 square foot home, you don't necessarily have to downsize. But we all know, too, that moving is a great way to clean. It's a great way to get rid of the receipts and the boxes and, all those things that we just, have in our basement and garage. But it's not always necessarily about downsizing, making a move to
Right. No, that's a very good point. No, I appreciate that.
It's reorganizing.
It is reorganizing. It's cleaning out those drawers and stuff. So I would love for all three of you to give us a brief description of what a typical day is like for you at Lakeview Village, to paint us a picture of what do you do there all day long. Who wants to start?
Well, I'll be happy to start. Of course, we mentioned before we have a diabetic dog, so she kind of starts the day because we have to feed her at a certain time and give her insulin at a certain time. And, of course, we love to read the paper in the morning and have our coffee and just kind of maybe turn on the news sometimes and see what's going on. And, we kind of make the bed, and then I do some volunteer work. And so many times I'll go downstairs and work in my office. It's kind of a part-time job for me as well, Katie.
Yeah.
And then I can read. I can meet people for lunch. Johnson County has a wonderful retirees association. I can be involved with that. Of course, 3 days a week, I've got to get my pool swim in and exercise. And Dick, you can mention what you do. You like your walk.
Normally, I take Lucy for a walk, and I'm right now the best time of the year that I've ever seen. The plants that we have put out, watering them and making sure that the grass is cut, and then I got to make sure all the edging is done, because sometimes they forget to do the edging, so I have to stick my wrappers.
It's kind of a tip when it comes to that.
So you went from not having to mow the lawn or do the landscaping and do the edging to just watching to make sure they do the edging. That's a tough life, Dick.
And watching them shovel the driveway.
And watching them shovel the driveway.
And at night, we have a wonderful patio in back, and we've got all sorts of pots of plants, and he does water those every morning. And we sit out there, we have a little glider, and we just listen to the birds and enjoy the peace that overcomes us back there. It's wonderful, and we cherish it. We really do. We love it.
That's so nice. I'm gonna rat on both of you, because just so those of you watching from home, when I asked them this question the other day, they both said, "We do whatever we want." Is what we do.
It's true, and I thought I better break that down a little. But I think the wonderful thing is we have the freedom to do what we want, when we want, and with whom we want, and that is a real gift.
Yeah. Absolutely, it is. So I was teasing you, Cindy and Dick. Katie?
He has a honey-do list. Honey-do this and honey-do that.
Keeps you busy, out of trouble, Dick. So there you go. So, Katie, what about you? What's a day look like for Katie Savage?
Well, I'm an early riser. So I get up, and I realized when I moved in February, so it was obviously the middle of winter, and I got in the habit of going out in the hall and walking at least 2 laps on every floor, because I can guarantee you that at 5 or 5:30 in this building, nothing is happening. So I can walk the halls, and I don't know, it's a peaceful way to start the day. And I have one neighbor, and she needed something done, and she knew that I walk early. So I was walking the halls, and I came upon her apartment, and the door was open, and she was sitting in her dining room chair in the doorway, waiting to ask me a question, because she knew eventually I would walk by.
Oh.
So we do have kind of a great team of people in the building, but I do like getting up and getting on the move. And then some days, as I said, I go into the office. Other days, I just continue my day here. I volunteer 2 afternoons a week in our village market, which is a resident-run small grocery store, and that's quite fun. I do enjoy that, getting to know people in other buildings. And now, I want to make something really clear. I'm a very social person, so I do like to get out, but I like my alone time. But I want to remind everybody that if you come here, you don't have to be social. You can, take in all the amenities and stay on your own and live your own best life, however you choose to do it. But I do like to get out and visit with people. We have jigsaw puzzles going on every floor, so I can stop and work on a jigsaw puzzle. Last year, in fact, I planned a puzzle exchange, and we did it in one of the other buildings, and everybody we ended up with about 200 puzzles, and everybody shared. And I've never done a jigsaw puzzle as much as I have since I moved here, because it is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
But dinner is also a big social event of the day for all of us, so it's nice to get with neighbors and friends or go eat in another dining room, or it's just quite nice to catch up on what's happened in the day. And then in the evening, sometimes we have different games going on. I've learned a lot more about, Mexican Train, Skip-Bo. There's always a game going on somewhere if you choose. But and I think there's a lot of bridge players here. I'm not a bridge player, but we do have a lot of groups. But anyway, that's an advantage, and that's kind of what the day is. But But again, I still go out, as Cindy said, still go out for lunch with friends and do lots of other things outside of here. And I always try to remind people, we have cars, we can leave.
Sure. And Katie, I think it's important. I don't want this to slip by folks. The fact that you are working. You are not retired, even though you're kind of living the retirement life. Well, you are living the retirement lifestyle at Lakeview Village, but you're still a working person.
Right, and there are other people here that still have full-time or part-time jobs, things that they've always been in, or as Cindy said, a lot of volunteer activities that they do outside of here. And that's kind of always intriguing to me because that's where we connect with other people, and I know people do work at Crosslines and do different things that live here. So, there's lots of activities to be involved in. I'm a little bit nervous about totally retiring and what that would be like, but I guess it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And then this kind of feeds in nicely to this one of my last questions that I have for you all here, and that is, what would you say about the people who live there, the variety of people who live at Lakeview Village?
I'd like to address part of that because we have not been here as long as Katie has, but we have wonderful publications here, and one is called Lakeview. And it amazes me the writing abilities of the people that publish their stories in these publications. So I get to know them just through reading. And it's amazing the different lifestyles that they've had and the adventures, the travels. So there's never a dull moment. Everybody has a story here. And if you go to the dining room and, sit with another couple, one night we met this one couple and I said, did you move from somewhere close by? And she said, no, we had a business in the middle of Kansas. And I said, oh, really? I said, well, how did you find Lakeview? She said, my parents lived here. So that tells me stability.
Yes.
Because she was not a spring chicken either.
Well, and I bet, how long has Lakeview been around, Lynn?
Lakeview has been here for 56 years.
Wow.
And it wasn't always open to everybody in the public. When Lakeview opened, it was actually a retirement community. It was several different religions. So it was retired ministers and pastors. So it did have a faith affiliation. And so we still feel that we're strong in our faith, but we're not affiliated with a particular church. But then later it opened. It really expanded and opened up to be a retirement community open to just anybody over age 62.
And Lynn, I know you've talked about many times just the variety of individuals, the interesting people who live in your community.
Yes. There's just not enough time to even tell all the stories, and it's not even enough time for us to get to, I can't get to know every resident that lives at Lakeview because, we are a big community, but it's so fun to hear all the things that we do, and I love when I hear other residents just talking about it. Katie actually made a comment to me that she can't believe how close she's become to her friends here. That they're just, they've really, really become close friends. And something we've recently added to our website on our homepage is it just says, click here to get to know your new neighbors. And so we are trying, we are just telling people short stories of a little bit about their life or what was important to them or something interesting, and we're going to be adding those each month because there are so many wonderful stories to tell.
I want to mention something which we hadn't mentioned was our app. We have an app that we use here as residents, and they can send us messages if something's happening on campus. But we can look up any resident, and the nice thing about the resident directory is you can type in any word, like you could type in quilting or you could type in any golf, and it'll pull up any resident that has that activity listed under their activity section on their app. So that really has been quite helpful. That started since I've been here, the Lakeview Village app.
Well, that's cool. Kind of keeps everybody connected.
Well, and when you have dinner with somebody, when you get back to your apartment, you're like, who was that person? And you can type in like Southridge or North Point and kind of go through the list and it'll jog your memory. And you can see their picture and go, oh, that's who I ate with. Because when you first get here, it's a lot to get to know. So
Yes.
So it can always be on their phone or their tablet. They can just go to the app and see what are the fitness classes that day, or are we having a concert that night, or like Katie said, you could look up a resident if you'd like to call, look up their phone number, look up their apartment number, see what's on the menu if you want to go to a different dining room that day. Mm-hmm. So the app is very popular.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then we have 2 television stations too, Channel 2 and Channel 4, which are really nice.
What? What is that? I didn't know that. What is that about?
Channel 2 is the activities and announcements for the day.
Okay.
And Channel 4, they broadcast movies and they also broadcast travelogues of residents and
lectures.
The resident meeting is on
at 7 o'clock on other than Sundays.
Yeah.
You can tune into a nice movie. And it's really no commercials, nothing.
Right.
Oh, that's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. So before we wrap up here, is there anything else that any of you would like to bring out that I haven't asked you?
Let's see. One thing I wanted to mention, you were talking about the villas and your cottage or your patio home. When I moved to this apartment, I did choose the package to totally remodel my apartment, and I was astounded at the quality. I built 3 homes before this, and my choices and everything that I was given and the flexibility to make choices and make changes, it made me feel very comfortable and the quality of the workmanship was just amazing. So I consider Lakeview really takes care of its properties, and that was important to me. And I've always felt that it's just always bringing more value to the place where I live.
Mm-hmm.
So you were able to choose then what your apartment was really going to look like, countertops or whatever. Right. Is that right?
All my finishes and everything.
Wow.
They had a package that I could purchase and made my flooring, and it was just exactly like building a home, fixtures and things like that. And it was a very easy process.
Nice. But just the fact you got to do that, that's really special. Yeah.
So we're really 55 years new. There you
go. Mm-hmm. That's a great way to put it. See, Lynn, you got somebody else working in your marketing department there.
I know.
So what about you, Cindy and Dick? Is there anything else you wanted to bring out that you haven't said already?
No, I think we've covered. One thing that came in the mail today is a 4-page list of community life survey with all the things that they want you to fill out, of areas that you would like to do to enhance your life here. So again, they do everything they can to provide you with a quality retirement community. And it's a great place to live. I couldn't be happier. And
showing you the opportunities of all the things that you could participate in. Then
I hadn't even thought of.
The only other thing I'd like to add is that there's a lot of young people here working. And by God, they introduced us to this one lady girl, and she remembered us for the past next year or so. Yeah. Every time we walk in there, they say, "Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Walton."
Yeah.
And it was just that. It was very touching.
They make you feel at home right away.
Yes.
That is terrific. Lynn, is there anything else you want to bring out?
I don't think so. I think I really wanted this to be the input from the residents. I think a lot of our events and when people come to the community, they do talk to folks in our office. So I think it's always nice to just get the residents' perspective, talk really hear from the people that live here, and we're happy to introduce you to people when you do come visit. that you either have things in common with, or Cindy, like your friend, like if we're doing the same thing, we're in this 4-bedroom house, we're downsizing. Can I talk to somebody that went through the same thing? We're happy to get you connected with those folks so that you can talk to people that are going through the same experiences or have the same interests. And I just think if there are a few people that you know at Lakeview, I think that makes the decision a little easier as well. You don't feel like you're moving to a place. And what's surprising about that too is how many people move here and they don't realize they already have friends here. Oh, I didn't know you lived here. Yeah. And they know somebody left the neighborhood, or they see them at church and they don't even know that they live at Lakeview. So people always run into people that they know, and that's really fun.
And that reminds me, at one of the resident meetings, I was introducing the new residents, and I was pre-reading the list. And I was reading about this woman, and I thought, I think I know this woman. And so I just, before I went on to do the introductions, I called her on the phone, and I asked her name. I said, now, was this your maiden name? And she said, yes. And she said, well, are you my Katie Savage? And I said, yes, I am. And we had gone to high school together.
Oh my God!
Didn't run in the same circles, but it turned out that we had gone to high school together. So she lives in another building, but we still get together, and it's a really small world,
Oh yeah. Well, and what a lovely 100-acre world it is at Lakeview Village for sure. We're going to pop Lynn's information right back up here on the screen for just a moment so that if for those of you who may want to talk with her further, whether it be about the Life Care Plan, comparing that to other communities, or just to, ask any other question that may come to mind today or later today or tomorrow or whenever. So there's that information. And then also you can always come back to this page. So that email that you received that had the link in it that you clicked on to come to this presentation today, you can always go back there, and there's a form on that page that you can fill out, and that too will go straight to Lynn and her team, and they can get your questions answered. So next month, and stick around for just a second, everybody, but I want to fill folks in a little bit about next month and a gentleman by the name of Brad Breeding. And if you've been around the senior living retirement community world for any time, you may have heard about Brad. He is nationally recognized. He comes from a financial planner's background, and he is truly an expert comparing, if you will, the Life Care Plan communities to an entrance fee community to a rental type community. And it's extremely educational to hear Brad speaking on this topic, and he can really help you navigate this decision that so many of you are trying to make about not only making a move to retirement living, but where to move to retirement living. And Brad will be a great, reputable advisor to help you navigate those questions. And you'll be able to ask your questions live of him next month, and that's going to be on July 22nd. So look for emails, look for information coming from Lakeview Village, and we hope that you will join us. So now, Katie, thank you. Cindy and Dick, it was such a pleasure to get to know all of you and to hear about your life at Lakeview Village. Lynn, as always, it's great to be with you. And gosh, attendees, all of you, those of you who registered and joined us, thank you so much. We hope we got your questions answered today. I'm glancing over. Do I have any? Oh, wait, I have one more question. Are you ready for it? Here it comes. This one is from Sherry. I'm not going to let you go. You're going to get all the questions answered. This is from Sherry. Is the TV reception good? Good question. Can you get all the channels? And can you get the Chiefs? I already like Sherry.
Absolutely. Everything. In fact, I sometimes wish it wasn't so good. My husband loves old movies, and he loves sports. All weekend long, there's a golf tournament on. I mean, we don't miss a thing. It's excellent.
Right on. And you know what? There was another question. Katie, I didn't know if you want to mention anything. Yeah. Another question I wanted to ask, because I'm sorry, people want to know this. Is the food really good?
Yes, it really is good. And the choices are phenomenal. I mean, we have everything is cooked to order for the meal. So when we sit down to dinner, we get a regular menu as if you were in a restaurant, and you order your appetizer and your salad, and, and your as Cindy and I can attest, the cookies and the ice cream are very good.
Lovely.
And the service is phenomenal. The meals are just lovely. I mean, it's hard to explain to people.
It's a lovely choice too.
I know. I mean, so many
have a lovely
options.
choice.
Yeah.
That is so great. Well,
so
on
every
that,
now and then I dust my stove.
or you ask the cleaning crew when they come in to your home to dust your stuff.
Right.
And when your laundry comes back, you know.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you guys have a rough life over there at Lakeview Village.
I wanted to thank Katie and Dick and Cindy so much. I can't thank you enough for joining us today and sharing your experiences and stories. And I know it's really valuable to the people that are making the decision. So thank you very much.
Yes, you guys were a delight. You were so much fun to be with.
And I would just like to wish everybody good luck in making their decisions.
Right.
And I want to thank Melissa and Lynn for doing this because it is a wonderful message, and let's get it out there.
Absolutely. Okay, well, everybody, thanks again, and have a great day.
Okay.
We'll see you. We'll see you over there at Lakeview. I'll find you folks over there.
Okay.
Take care. Bye-bye.